Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today. We hope everyone is remaining healthy and safe. My name is Ellie Butler. I am Marketing Manager here with IDP Connect. For those of you who may not know us, IDP Connect serves as the gateway for institutions to IDP education, a world leader in international student placement services and digital recruitment solutions. What makes IDP Connect really unique is the depth of data that we have from our online sites, coupled with the global market insights of our vast network. This combined data set is unparalleled in the sector, providing institutions with the critical insights they need to make strategic decisions. And in today's session, we'll be showing you how you can harness that data to assist in your planning for spring 2021 recruitment and marketing activities. I'm very pleased to be joined today by David Bushy, Director of Client Partnerships and Operations, and Anucha Pramnart, Client Data Analyst. The session will be recorded, and if you have any questions, we encourage you to use the question tool to the right of the main webinar window at any point throughout the webinar, and we'll cover them at the end. So without further ado, I will pass over to David.
Thanks, Ellie, and thank you to all of those who joined us last week and are joining us once again. And thank you to all of those who weren't on last week's session and are joining for the first time. As Ellie mentioned, this will be part 2 of a 3-part mini-series, each composing of 30-minute segments, sharing how you can use our demand tracker tool to inform your strategy, and more specifically in this particular case, your spring recruitment strategy, but don't feel like it's only something that you can use for your spring strategy. Just to give some context and to quantify what Ellie just recently shared about where we get some of this data from. At IDP Connect, we have over 40 websites that get 100 million visits per year. We have over 3 million unique customers in our platform. Much of that is driven through our extensive counseling network of 2,500 counselors in almost 130 offices in over 30 countries. Last year, those counselors processed 18,000 applications for the US, over 200,000 applications globally, and placed 33,000 students around the world into English-speaking destinations. For the purposes of today's session, we're going to be looking at what we consider to be called our IQ services, our data services. And for the most part today, looking at our on-demand or subscription-based services over on the left side of the graphic that you see in front of you. More specifically, really focusing in on our demand tracker tool. And this is a subscription tool that you can get access to, that you can use 24/7, 365, and it's at your fingertips to be able to inform your strategy. To the right side of the line are bespoke services that we offer in consulting and research. These are very much customized to each of our clients' individual needs. And so if after today's call you feel a little bit overwhelmed by some of the data, or you feel as if you just don't have the capacity at your particular institution in order to be able to kind of dig into it and to pull out some takeaways, we're more than happy to discuss with you about how we can support and assist you through our bespoke, customized consultancy services. I'd suggest you either just reach out to a client manager, or if you just want to drop a line in the question chat, just saying that you'd like a follow-up, we'd be more than happy to have someone reach out in the next day or so. So, and kind of looking at this data, I know if you're anything like me, having had the most recent Open Doors data announced on Monday, you've probably spent a little bit of time or considerable amount of time kind of digging into that and trying to understand, what the data is telling us in order to inform your strategy. And I just want to share kind of the key differences between the Open Doors data and what we're going to be looking at today. And by no means am I suggesting that our data that we are sharing is definitive. I think in all cases, this data needs to be considered with a number of different sources like Open Doors. You might choose to use CVIS, Education USA, probably even your own historical application data as well to inform some of your strategy. But our data is different in that it's looking at demand. So it's looking at student demand. It's using student search behaviors from all over the world. It's real-time data, and it's top of the funnel. What we mean by top of the funnel is that this data is is about students who are considering to apply and enroll 1 to 2 years into the future. So whereas the open doors data is a reflection on the past, and a lot of the sources that we traditionally use are a reflection on the past, this data is looking into the future to give you a glimpse of how things might be a year or two from now. And we know that past performance is no guarantee of future results. So it's important to compare or utilize different data sources from the past and into the future. So what we have in store today, I mentioned just a bit earlier that this was part 2 of a 3-part series. Today's session is going to focus on study level demand. And for those that weren't on the call last week this time, no worries. We will do a quick recap in the very beginning in terms of what we shared last week from a source market demand standpoint. And we'll be taking a break next week for the Thanksgiving holiday. So hopefully everyone enjoys their time off and is safe and healthy. And we'll be picking up the first week of December with a session on that Wednesday looking at program level demand. So we're really trying to build on how you can use the tool to get to a really granular level to understand how the data can inform your recruitment strategy and activities into the spring. We know you have lots of decisions and you have lots of opportunities, lots of different virtual fairs and things to consider, and we hope that this tool helps you to identify which will be most effective for your institution. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Anutra to give you some high-level data and then walk you through the tool. So on to you, Anutra. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So like David said, today we're going to focus on the study level demand. But before we get there, let's just take a quick recap of what we did last year for those of you who didn't get to attend. So the last time we were talking about the source market search trend. So what I'm seeing here is that the top 5 country of origin that's searching to the US. So we see Brazil, India, Turkey, Indonesia, and Thailand. However, the one thing that we didn't get to do last week is that we didn't really choose the study level. And like most of us know, a lot of country, like for example, India, is driven like by postgrad. So the trend that like the overall trend that you see for India may not really reflect like anything for undergrad because it's got outweighed by the postgrad. And that's why the call today is really important so that we can focus on the study level that like fit with your institution since everyone have different goals and recruitment strategy. This one also like the thing that we did last week where we dive even deeper in terms of the city level. So it's important for you to know like, India is declining, Brazil is growing, but then like where exactly in those countries that you would like to capture your students or even like, try to do the right marketing activity around. This one here is based on our tool. And this one, I didn't really pick any specific country of origin. I just do like whoever is searching to the US. So we got like top 5 cities right here. But again, we didn't really pick undergrad or postgrad or anything like that. So anything that you see here is super general. And we're going to just like go even deeper today, like with the tool that we have. So for the next one here is the part we're going to talk about. I would like to start with the undergraduate trend. This is what happened this year. So like, the trend from January 1st to November 15 of 2020, we started off pretty strong. And again, once we get like hit by COVID, everything, kind of slowed down and then we see the drop there. But we also pick ourselves right back up and it's, get pretty high by like week 14, 16, 15 right there. And then the trend going down after a while. Let's compare that with what happened last year. So like I say, we started off strong and we even surpassed the 2019 level like at the beginning before the COVID, and everything kind of like go back down. And there's a gap there, like if you can see like between like week 15 to like 19, there's a big gap that we doing so much better than what we did before from the previous year, and this is for undergraduate level. So just keep that in mind. Of course, like the trend is going down because demand search demand is different from one year to another, and what happened with 2020, like we pretty lucky that we don't really go too far from that. This one is the calculating like by the moving average. So pretty much like if you take a look at the total volume, like search volume for undergraduate students, that went down by like 7% or 8%. So it's not like super bad. And then this one, we're just going to take a look by the subject areas. So for the top 5 subject search area for undergraduate students, we have health and medicine, applied pure sciences, creative arts and design, engineering, and then social studies and communications. On the right-hand side, I'm showing you the percent change of the same time range of 2019 and 2020. So of course we see like, the decline from here and there, and it's not like super huge. But let's take a look at engineering. That's a big decline of 22%. So if you got a chance to take a look at data on Open.Door that had just come out, you can see that engineering is actually like been declining for a while, and Open.Door like told us what happened last year, right, or like this year, and then our data is telling us like what is going to happen in the near future. So put two and two together, you can see that, you can easily predict that engineering is going to continue to decline. So now let's take a look at the countries of origin perspective. So the top 5 countries that's searching for undergraduate courses include Brazil, Indonesia, Turkey, India, and Mexico. And we can see that majority of the country are declining, but like, at like super marginal level. Let's take a look at India here. We see the drop of 26%, which is pretty huge. And then compared to Open.Door's data, even though the data that just came out say that we see like a super tiny increase for undergraduate student, which is like 0.9% or like 1%. That's like really small. It could be that we already hit the peak for undergraduate student, and that could have been like 2015, 16, and like, that's why the trend continue to be like more flat. And if you think about it, if it's going to be like that, it's either going to continue to be flat or like starting to decline. So now let's take a look at the graduate level. So I have the same thing up here, which is the trend from 2020, so like from first week up until November 15. And yeah, like of course with the COVID-19, we see like the drop there, but then we also pick ourselves back up, compared with last year. So that little gap there between week 14 to like week 19, if you can recall, the gap for undergraduate students are so much bigger compared to postgrad, and that could easily be because undergrad students have like 4 years. So if something were to happen, like, they have to change their plan, or like having to do like blend study or like hybrid or anything, they have enough time to like change it around. So that's kind of like more flexible for undergraduate students. Compared to postgraduate students, they only have 2 years, or like, maybe slightly more or less than that. So of course they will be like less flexible. With the overall volume, the the postgraduate courses dropped by 9% from the previous year. Now let's take a look at the graduate subjects. So we have health and medicine here, applied pure sciences, business, engineering, and then social studies as the top 5 subject areas that graduate students are searching for. If you take a look at the percent change from the previous year, business showed the largest decline of 22%. Compare that with the Open.Door's data, business has been like declining for the past 3 years, and I think the most recent number is that it's declined by 5.4%. So again, put 2 and 2 together, we can expect to see the declining in business program moving forward. So last one here before I switch over to our tool, I would like to show you the countries of origin. So like, of course, top 5, it's almost the same type of users that we had for undergrad. So we have India here, Brazil, Turkey, Indonesia, and Thailand. So we see some positivity coming from Brazil, Turkey, and Indonesia, which is great. And like, with the number from Open.Doors, I think Brazil for postgrad, they're going up by 1.7%. So kind of like tiny. And then like for us, we only showed 3% increase, but that's still a good thing. Let's just take a look at India here, where we saw the 27% decline in search for the from Indian students to the US. And that's like, bigger than anything else. I mean, Thailand is also big, but like with the actual like international student enrollment number, that's like a lot smaller. So let's just focus on India here. So when we take a look at the Open.Doors data, we see that the Indian students, like for postgrad, I think they declined by 5.7% this year. So you can start seeing that Indian students and like have kind of like shift their interest somewhere else, and then their search kind of like decline over time, and which affect in the enrollments as well. So it's time to either try to get them back or start looking for other markets just to like fulfill your enrollment goal. So let me stop sharing this screen, and then I'm going to pull up our tool, which is the demand tracker tool. So for this one here, for those of you that have access to our demand tracker, I'm just going to quickly show you the one that we have. I think the screen is loading, so give it a second. Okay, so here we go. So this is the one that we did last time, where we have the source market and then city demand. So let me just like start it off by the source market demand first. Okay, let's take a little while to load. There you go. So this is what we have here. So the last time we take a look at the top 5 countries of origin that's searching to the US, and we got Brazil, India, Turkey, Indonesia, and Thailand, right? So for those of you who have the access to our demand tracker, let's just do this together. If you can see the top filter like bar here, you can change the date range, you can change the destination country, and so on. But the one I would like to focus today is like to change the study level. So if you click the drop down button here, and then you can let's say let's just do postgrad for now. So I'm just going to click on postgrad, and I'll click apply. So now you see that the trend is chipping a little, and then you can see that India is kind of like go back up toward the end, but then like they have like the really big decline like in the middle. And this one is showing the data by month, so you can also change it to day or week just to see like more accurate data you are looking at. And if we want to try like let's say undergrad, we can just click on undergrad here and then apply, and let's see if the countries even change at all. Okay, so I think Thailand is gone, and now we have Brazil, Indonesia, Turkey, India, Mexico. So India used to be number 2 for the postgrad one, and then now it's like top 4, number 4 of top 5. So that's like at the country level. And then next one that I would like to show you is the city demand level, so that way we can be a little more specific when we do the recruitment activities around that. And again, this one, I didn't really pick any specific country or like, any specific level. I just do like whoever is searching to the US between January 1st of 2020 to November 15th of 2020. So right here, I have like top 5 cities right here. So let's take a look at what's going on with the undergrad. I'm doing the same thing here, where I just unselect everything for the study level and then just only selecting the undergrad, and I click apply. This one may take a second because we have like a lot of data in here. Okay, so just keep in mind, like I know that the number is getting a little smaller, but like the more filter you apply, or like the more details, like level of detail you apply into your data, the number will get smaller. So right now it's not like super bad, like compared to like for the month, but you can see that for if we only select undergraduate, then the top cities kind of change. If not like change at all, then maybe like change the order of that. So now you can emphasize like where you would like to allocate your time and your resources in. The last one I would like to show you before I pass it back on to David for questions and answer session that we have. This one is kind of like a teaser for the next webinar we're having in 2 weeks. So we have the origin city on the left hand side here, and we are able to just drill down even further in terms of like what that particular city is looking for in terms of the programs. And we can even do like undergrad and postgrad. So before we before I move on and before I pass it on to David, let me just like do the undergrad one real quick just to show you what it would look like. So now you can see that like the order of the origin cities and percent share and even the volume changed a little. And then with the subject areas kind of like stay the same, but with the volume and percent share, obviously it will be different. And that will be something we'll be covering next time on December 2nd.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Anutra.
much, Anutra. Cool. Well, thank you both. Thank you both, Anutra and David. A lot of great data shared in such a short time there, so really valuable. And I think with that, we'll jump into the questions that we've received throughout. So first up, we have what second and third tier cities in India are most up and coming for undergraduate students?
Okay, so with that, like we want to look at the city level, right? So using the tool, since I already have this up, I'm just going to like walk you guys through, and then if David want to chime in, you are more than welcome to. So I'm just going to go back to the tab that's called city demand, and then we are interested in undergrad, which is already there. That's great. And we would like to take a look at only India, right, Ellie?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just unselect everything and then pick India here. And then we're going to click apply. So now this is a trend that's happening. And we have Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bengaluru, and Pune. I know this is not like all these the second and third tier cities, but we are also able to just like, select those cities ourselves as well. So if David, do you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, no, I think this is fantastic. On the actual tool itself there, you can select how many cities you'd like to view at one time. For the purposes of today's session, we're looking at 5. Excuse me, you might select 8 or 10 if you'd like to see some more cities, or as Anutra mentioned, use the filter at the top, the drop down under origin city, and self-select a few of them. I love this tool, and I love being able to use this because I know that even at IDP, we host a number of virtual events around the world, and many of those are specific to different cities. And here you can really start to understand whether or not your institution, your study levels that you have available, your programs that you have available are marketable by city, not just by region, not just by country. And so I think it really helps you to drill down to know that, will I see traction in Hyderabad? Yes, maybe I will, but is that going to be the case in Mumbai? And we'll talk a little bit next week, or I shouldn't say sorry, next week. We'll all be on vacation next week. We'll talk the week after about how you can take this one level further in peeling it back and looking at, not just country, city, but is there then demand at the program level? So if I'm looking at India, if I'm looking at Hyderabad, and I'm looking at, my particular program at my school, engineering, whatever it might be, is there interest from that city? So that's what I really love about this tool. It helps you to be much more efficient in terms of the way that you recruit students in your activities. I almost said the way that you travel there, but the way that you recruit, it helps you to be much more efficient.
Cool. Thank you both. And I think we've probably covered this with those answers, but we'll read it off anyway. I'm considering virtual recruitment in Indonesia this spring, focused on recruiting undergraduate students. Can this tool shed light on which cities I should focus on?
Sure. Well, let's just use the same dashboard we already on here. So for Indonesia's, what I will do here is I'll just keep everything the same, and then let's scroll down. So instead of just selecting India, I'm just going to go with Indonesia here and then apply. And if you would like to take a look at like overall volume, just to see like, which city would be like the best for you guys to like allocate your time and your resources in, then I would highly recommend to go with like the overall option, like to view the data. And that will give you like the bar chart. So like for Indonesia, like everything is usually like around in Jakarta, but then there are also like other areas in Indonesia like Surabaya and then Bandung that may be like up and coming as well. So it really depends. And like, again, if you would like to just focus on all the study level, like post-grad, you can just change it on here and see if that changed. From my experience, I don't think it will change that much for Indonesia, but like for other countries that you may see like some kind of like decrease or increase or like even shift within the city as well.
Thanks, Anutra. Just while we're on this screen, maybe a little tease for 2 weeks from now. Can you just show on the right-hand side without actually clicking on it, but where you'd actually be able to then look at subject area and subdiscipline? There's drop downs there for, you're on it right now on the screen, just under the filters on the screen, the far right-hand side. There you are. So actually, for those of you that have access to the tool and you want to take a look at that today, you don't want to wait till next week. You don't have to click on any Anutra, but you can actually drill down and look at, creative art and design. You can look at engineering and technology, and then I don't know the subdisciplines are going to show, but do you want to just click on subdiscipline there quickly, Anutra? I don't know if it's going to show us anything.
Yes, they will, but like the number will be like a lot more, like a lot smaller. Yeah, but it doesn't really
if you
stay.
look at
Yeah, but
subdiscipline,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So if we look at subdiscipline there, then we can actually drill down by program. So if you're looking at engineering, you can look closer than at aerospace engineering. We're going to touch more on this next week, but for those that have access to the tool, I just wanted to provide you with a quick overview of where you could actually get that information. So it is right there, readily available to you to explore.
Super interesting. And I think it's fascinating how granular you can get with this tool, just how far you can break it down to uncover the data you're looking for.
Yeah,
so thank you.
I've been looking at all the open doors data and kind of crunching some numbers at study level and by country, and then you start to overlay that with what you're seeing on this tool, and it's just you could spend all day in it. It's just absolutely fascinating to see, could we have predicted what we saw this year? Obviously, the open doors data was unaffected by COVID just because of the time frame in which it was collected. But could we have predicted some of this? And can we use some predictive analysis to determine or understand what the trends might be in the future?
Exactly. Is the demand rebounding? All of those great things. So cool. I think we have time for one final question. So I will ask you this one that just came in. I would love to have this at my institution, but we don't have the capacity to spend time digging through it and interpreting the data. Do you have any solutions you could provide that include the interpretation and analysis?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was what was touched on in the very beginning. For anyone who is interested in learning more, whether it's just a demo or want to talk more about pricing or some of our bespoke or customized services, please just drop a note in the question panel or feel free to reach out to a client manager after. But we do have that available. It is through our bespoke and customized consultancy services. And within that, we can provide overviews at the country level. We can provide overviews for you specifically for your institution at study level, even drilling down to subject and subdiscipline. So absolutely can take a lot of that consultancy type work on behalf of those institutions with limited capacity. And even in that, then be able to go back and present to leadership or to provide you with the tools that you need in order to be able to include some of this bespoke research in your strategic plan. So yeah, absolutely something we could do. Be more than happy to take people through what that looks like.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, David. All right, well, with that, I think we will close. I want to thank Anutra and David again for sharing this fantastic data. I want to thank you all for joining us today and attending. As a reminder, you will receive the recording and the slide deck as a follow-up to this session. And with that, we'll say farewell. So stay safe, stay healthy, take care. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.